Andrew, now that you're off the case, and what do you think of the prosecution's case against him?
Well, I mean, I think that it is what they presented at the hearsay hearing, and I think that they'll make adjustments, and I think that Joel and Joe ought to be prepared for, retooling, and it's definitely a case that can be won. They don't have an eyewitness, they don't have a confession, and they don't have a murder weapon, and
you're saying it's a case that can be won by the defense, you're saying?
I think it's a case that can be won by the defense.
All right. Let me
by the way, O.J. Simpson case, they had no eyewitness, no confession, and no murder weapon.
Mm-hmm. They had plenty. They had plenty of trail, but as you're pointing out,
and attorneys who shifted their responsibilities
in any case.
Yeah, I understand.
But O.J. was likable.
That's a big difference. That's a good point.
I don't
at
think
the time. At the time, he was a celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that Drew's attempts to make himself into a celebrity have not made him likable. Sort of the way that Rod Blagojevich has learned.
I don't think Mr. Brodsky's attempts sometimes to win over the media have been classy
I don't know
either.
that any of those issues are insurmountable. I do think that Johnny Cochran might have been a one-in-a-lifetime type lawyer,
All right, you've alluded to something twice here. I just want to make sure that I clearly understand this. Are you saying that you believe that the defense team, as it is presently constructed, as you were part of until just, within the last few days, are you saying that they are not as well prepared as they need to be because the state's case is well prepared?
I don't know that anybody involved in the case is prepared to go to trial today. The trial is June 14th. I get the sense that everybody's preparing for that day. I suspect that no matter who's involved, they'll be ready to go by June 14th,
Were they not up to your expectation of preparation at this point?
Say that again?
Was your team not up to your expectation of preparation at this point?
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think I was getting ready, and I think George was getting ready, and, I think you should ask Joel what he was doing in regards to the case. But, we had gone through a pretty extensive hearing in January, so we had a pretty good sense of what the case was about. We had the transcripts, and we were, working on trial strategy and working on witness, how we were going to handle the witnesses. So I think we were on point.
What went wrong?
I don't know that anything went wrong.
Well, something went wrong. Andrew, you're not on the case anymore. Something went wrong. What went wrong?
I made a decision to get out of the case.
Based on your personal on your personal schedule, or based on something that was going on in the defense? Because it says here, because Mr. Brodsky's statement.
What are you reading?
Brodsky's. This is in the. Hold on, stand by. This is CBS. Is report CBS
Big
here.
Time. Big time.
Is reporting that Brodsky says there were irreconcilable differences on defense strategy. You're telling me that you don't think it's defense strategy, it's Brodsky himself.
Well, I would say that it's personality as more than, any particular strategy. I've read in the articles, that somebody was saying suicide, and I think Joe Lopez said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the first thing about handling this case, that something about an alibi. I think those were...
so you think they weren't being respectful of what your contribution to this case could have been?
They don't need to show me any respect. I don't lose sleep over that. I'm saying that they're not accurate as to why I'm not in the case. They're absolutely the last thing is being accurate.
So defense strategy is not the issue?
Well, I mean, everything can be considered defense.
Okay,
right?
Preparation is not. You're saying.
I would say this: that not every lawyer displayed the same skills at the hearsay hearing on the defense team, and that when you present a case and try and represent a defendant on a charge like this, it's important that you prepare and present absolutely the best case possible. And you can't divide the case up in a manner of fairness. You have to divide it up as a matter of ability. And I think that that's just a common sense, smart way to take on a case.
Final question, Your Honor.
I say that generally. I don't want to talk specifically about this case, but I think that makes sense, and I think that there was some disagreement with that.
So you're leaving us with the impression. Final question for you, Andrew, because you've been nice enough to join us here,
Nice enough for you guys to ask me.
But you're leaving us with the impression that Mr. Brodsky is not as skilled as he needs, in your opinion, not as skilled as he needs to be. Is that the impression you want to leave us with?
I would leave you with the impression that George Leonard is probably one of the best criminal defense lawyers I've ever seen, and that given his ability and skill, and if you ask anybody in Will County, they would probably echo that same thing. I've heard it from a number of people, that at least it would have been my take, that he have a major role in the trial.
All right. Mr. Abood, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. That's pretty clear.
I think, now, I hate to be like in a third grade classroom, but I think he just called Brodsky a putz. I think what just happened there. I believe that...
Saying nothing says everything.
I believe it was pretty clear that he believes that Drew Peterson is not being best served by having Mr. Brodsky.
That was a more politic way, yes, of saying, Mr. Brodsky, you are more than welcome to join in here and to give us your side of the story. We'll make that call to your office right now. Stay right here. The Roe Conn Show with Richard Roper continues on the Big 89 WLS.
This is Joel Brodsky, and you're listening to The Roe Conn Show. Bada bing.
Roe and Roper, 890 AM, WLS.